cars parked there, and it's difficult now to get down some of these streets. So people will typically put their barrels wherever they can, and the houses are close together, so you might have a driveway, a narrow stretch somewhere that someone that's plowed in. It could be barrels, you have this picture of the automated trash pickup with, a nice cul-de-sac, no cars on it, and you go down the street, and you pick up the trash, it's nice and easy, the guy gets out, he flips the lever, or whatever, picks it up. But, in reality, in some of these places, it's going to be pretty difficult, I think, especially if there's one person, when there's, there may be barrels in front of the sidewalk, where a narrow space, the snow has been shoveled out, another place where they're on the sidewalk, and they could be all over the place. Remember, this is smart. He's going to have one person, trying to do this, and the street will be blocked with the trucks. It can even fit down the street, and cars, maybe lined up behind them. I just have a picture of this, and I just want to know how much thought was put into that, and what we would do if that situation became a problem. It's not really anything we've discussed at length. I know we touched upon it last time we were here.
There is, the driver, the operator of the vehicle, believe it or not, works actually more efficient than a two-man truck. He will have to, and he knows he's going to have to get out and reposition containers because people will put them out, and they'll put them out at the curb, and they may not be in the ideal spot. So when he starts, and this is that kind of that period of time for the first few weeks is where we're working for the city of Lynn, he'll move those containers to where it's more convenient for him to get them, and that's where he'll leave them. And after he's done that a couple of times, the resident gets the idea, okay, I guess he wants it over here. In those areas where we have to consolidate some containers, he will consolidate them, and the people will know. We do encourage, and Andy mentioned it, on the cable television spot, that the resident can put their address, if they wish, on the side of the container, so that they know that it's theirs. But it's actually a very efficient system, and we have worked through cities like this in the past. We also are preparing, and not every single street do these trucks go down. Not every single street in the city of Lynn now, do the trucks we operate now can fit. So we have what we call an alley cat that's already in the city that goes through and gets some of those difficult places, the tough to get to places. We plan on running an alley cat as well. We're going to continue to run that out.
So you had mentioned that, I think, last time.
Yeah.
So this vehicle here has the capability of picking up these new trash containers.
Yes. Yep. It has we call it a cart tipper. It has a cart tipper on it. Councilor Kajus next.
Going back to what Lynn was talking about, when you're going to start December 1st, when do you think you can have a price on just a recycling barrel?
We need to get with the DPW department and the mayor, but it'll be before December 1st.
And then for Mr. Paul, the bags, are you going to put that in the brochure whether people can buy the bags?
We expect it to be a dynamic list, changing all the time, so the website does that. I have a list as of right now that I can give you, so everything was handed to you, but we're adding vendors to this list daily.
Okay, so
The brochure does.
city website to get the bags.
Right, the brochure recommends that the residents go to the city website to see the list of participating stores. Council's here.
Touch on the alley cat, because I have a lot of terraces on Blue Street, Jam Street, this Council Drive, Pleasant Street, that the truck doesn't go down like now, and people push, drag their barrels, and that alley cat can go down the terraces so that they don't have to bring the barrels.
If they bring the barrels up now, typically, we would expect that they probably wheel the carts, which would be easier than drag the barrel up to the top of the terrace. And that's what I was talking about with the other counselor. There are those, places right now that trash is consolidated for the purpose of not being able to get to it. And if that's the case, then we would hope that the residents would continue to do that.
All right, just, my point is that, this Shadow Street, which go building, there's a terrace down there, it's just an example that people constantly bring their barrels up, and there's a fight over which corner to put them on. And sometimes the trash truck doesn't always pick them up because they're not in the right spot. And I can just already see the problem with, you're talking about 6 or 7 barrels deep, maybe 10 or 15 barrels spread out. There's 7 or 8 buildings down there, they're all multi-family houses that, even down on Western Ave, we have a lot of terraces and Essex Street. We have 7 or 8 310 buildings, so they're going to be bringing those up.
If they're bringing their barrels now to a centrally located place, we would suggest that they bring the carts to the centrally located place, and we'll either be able to get it with the automated truck or the smaller vehicle. Councilor John?
Thank you. I just want to go back to the rubbish. Now, for the first few weeks, like some people, with the language barrier that we have in the city, a lot of people probably aren't going to put out some of the barrels, they're still going to continue to put out their trash bags and stuff. Are you going to pick them up and then leave something for them, or like how's that going to transpire? Like, do you find that you have that first in some of these other communities?
Yes. I mean, if there are no carts out whatsoever, we're going to have to make a decision with DPW as to what to do with respect to that, whether it's a notice right away or picking them up and putting them. If there's no carts there, I suspect that we're going to probably put a notice. If there are carts with extra material or stuff that's outside of the carts, that's where I was kind of inferring that, there's kind of we're going to be picking that stuff up initially, but then, as I said, we're going to have to drive a stake in the ground at some point in time to say, as of this date, we're going to adhere to the program.
And I just had one other question. I wanted to touch on the drivers. Now, at first, are you going to, I guess what I was thinking, like you have 2 men on a truck now, and we have 6, 7 trucks a day in the city.
Okay.
6, 7. Now, do you change that with this automated system? Do you
Well, actually,
still fast?
The mix of the trucks changed because we're going to have a lot more people participating in the recycling program. I mean, right now you have, it's a poor participation rate in the city of Lynn, so there are fewer recycling trucks here than there are trash trucks. The mix of trucks is going to change, but the amount of trucks will be about the same.
I know I was getting some calls, so the schedule will stay the same?
Absolutely.
So it'll stay the same, you're going to do the same,
Yep, we have a green week and a blue week. The covers on the recycling containers, one is green, the other one's blue. If they go to the calendar, which will be in the brochure, they'll be able to see which week they are. So if they're not sure whether they're green or blue, but they know what week they're on, they can check and they'll see, or they'll know that the cover will dictate what week they're on.
Any other questions from the council or Commissioner Hall, if you'd like to address? Thank you, Mike. I'd like to address the body of clarify any issues.
Councilman Lozzi had talked about the additional recycling bin. As of right now, the additional recycling bins, and we were talking, or Mike talked earlier, of a pair of bins for 132. As of right now, it's 132 for one additional, be it trash or be it recycling.
It's not the set.
Correct.
And,
So your, for example, is wants an additional what?
well, everybody's different. Some folks would use an additional recycle bin, and others would use an additional trash bin.
132 per bin per year. You can have up to 5 of each at each individual household. So Council Seer is concerned with all the extra cardboard. They can rent one extra recycle bin. If that doesn't work, they can rent 2.
I just think that's unfair because trash gets picked up weekly. It's a small container. It costs the city more for the trash tipping fees or waste management under the contract. And recycling is only picked up once every 2 weeks. I don't think that, I would like you to revisit that and see if we can encourage residents to do more recycling by maybe offering the recycle container that can only be picked up once every 2 weeks for less money than the trash container.
I think that's a great idea, and worthy of investigating, but I can't just change it on the fly right here before you. It's a great idea.
Thank you.
Councilor Net.
Thank you. Commissioner Hall, I'm still quite unclear. Is that 132 per year to rent or to purchase?
Rent.
To rent.
Yep.
Okay, that sounds better.
Any other council?
It's interesting to hear all the ward councils asking because this is going to be a rough changeover. On a normal now, in our system, I might get 5 to 10 calls a week. No reflection on waste management, they do a good job, but for different reasons, people putting out the wrong thing or whatever. The ward councils get bombed with calls, so this is going to be a work in progress, and I feel like they're going to work with us, and I hope between the DPW and waste management, we can get it worked out. Thank you.
Yeah, we're anticipating some confusion at the first, and we've hired 3 temporary employees to answer phone calls in anticipation of many questions.
Council Seer.
Thank you. And I don't mean to keep poking the dead dog with a stick, but when it comes to the recycling part, and I'm a firm believer in that I really wish we would revisit that. And I know it's been explained to us in the past about why you can't do it, the recycling every week, but it doesn't make sense to me that we're trying to encourage everybody to recycle, that we're going to be saving money, and they use the recyclables. They make money off the recyclables, don't they?
No, I mean, it's less to dispose of it, you don't make money on it. The pickup and handling cost exceeds the value of the material. It's less than disposing of trash, yes, but it's not free.
Any other questions? And I know I've heard from a number of councilors that are concerned about the rollout of this, and we anticipate probably some quarterly meetings going into 2015 to provide updates, hopefully from Waste Management and yourself, Andy, and Michael Donovan, on how the program is being rolled out, and obviously to express any concerns from the council. I know that Councilor Seer, as chairman of the DPW committee, would take a lead role on those discussions and meetings. Any other questions?
Well,
Councilor Phillips.
one-way streets. How many people use one-way? Down to one side of the truck, is it go to the left and there's one side in it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think Mike might be able to answer this better than myself.
Those streets are done with rear load trucks. A rear load truck would be a different type of truck. As I said before, we have, for the most part, the city will be automated, but there will be those streets that some dead ends, some narrow streets, that we can't get the trucks down now, that will operate that small.
So one-way is going to be with the railroad. Thank you.
Any further questions?
That's what it is.
Seeing no further questions, what's the wish of the council? Councilor Craig.
Motion to approve.
Motion is made to approve. Is there a second? Second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call. Oh, strike that. Councilor Seer.
I just want to make a statement. I am going to vote in favor of this. I'm not in favor of everything I see, and it's not a perfect world. I'm just going to ask the public to understand and be patient, and, that's what we're here for, to work with them and try to make this thing an easy transition. So with that being said,
Well said. Roll call.
Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Cahill?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Capano?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis absent. Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Creighton.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Seer.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Ford.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Lozey.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Net.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Trahan.
Yes.
Yes, 10 yes.
And on the emergency, motion, is there a motion to approve? Motion made and seconded, discussion, seeing none, roll call.
Counsel Barton.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Cahill.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Capano.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis. Absent Counsel Calucci.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Creighton.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Seer.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Ford.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Lozey.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Net.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Trahan.
Yes.
Yes, 10 yes.
Passes. Public hearings to be set down.
We have 3 public hearings to be set down. I can read them together if you choose.
No objection, seeing none, Madam Clerk, please read all 3 together.
Public hearing to make a determination on the percentages of the fiscal year 2015 tax levy to be borne by each class of real and personal property. Petitioner National Grid Raphael Tanis for permission to install 50 feet plus or minus a 6/4-inch PVC conduit from manhole 104 on Broad Street at Silsbee. This work is to provide service to 137 to 149 Broad. Petitioner Tony Tipico, Osvaldo Salcido for permission to add wine and malt license to existing restaurant at 268 Essex.
What's the wish of the council? Motion made to set down. Do you have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. No unfinished business. Committee reports.
Ways and Means Committee, we have several financial audits. I can read them together if you'd like.
No objection, we'll read them all together, and we'll do an emergency at the end as well.
Okay, order that the city controller take the following actions. Transfer the sum of $169.16 from the fire expense account to unpaid bills of prior year. Certify as an available fund the amount of $200,000.00 as allotted to the City of Lynn Community Development by the Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs to fund a grant initiative to renovate splash pad at Kylie Park. Certify as an available fund the amount of $5,158,117.00 as allotted to the City of Lynn School Department by the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education to fund the fiscal year Title 15 Title I grant. Certify as available fund the amount of $299,000.00 as allotted to the City of Lynn School Department by the Department of Early Education and Care to fund the fiscal year 15-237 Coordinated Family and Community Engagement Grant.
Councilor Barton.
Unanimous vote of committee, motion to approve.
Motion approved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Cahill?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Capano?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis? Absent Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Creighton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Seer?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Ford?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Lozey?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Trahan?
Yes.
On the
Yes.
emergency?
Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Cahill?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Capano?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis? Absent Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Creighton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Seer?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Ford?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Lozey?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Trahan?
Yes.
Yes. 10 yes. Public Safety and Public Health Committee,
Chairman Barton.
That was also a unanimous vote of committee, motion to approve.
Motion made to approve and seconded by Councilor Ford. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Cahill?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Capano?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis, absent Counsel Calucci. Abstained Counsel Creighton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Seer?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Ford?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Lozey?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Trahan? Yes. 9 yes. License Committee,
Chairman Trahant.
Unanimous vote of the committee, motion to accept.
Motion made to approve, seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. No, the ayes have it.
and Public Property and Parks Committee.
Councilor Calucci.
Unanimous vote. It's all good.
Motion, I'll take that as a motion to approve. Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no, the ayes have it. Unfinished business, Ms. Okay, we're going to go right to new business discussion with representatives from Mayo Group regarding 137 Broad Street. Are there any representatives from Mayo Group? Thank you very much for your patience as well. If you could please come to the podium and state your name for the record. I know some councils have any questions as well.
Jody Herrick, 24 Mount Vernon here in
Thank you very much. And your role at Mayo Group?
property manager for Mayo
Thank you. I'm going to open up to questioning. Councilor Crichton.
Mr. President, through you to the members, just a quick background on this project. When I was the Ward 5 councilor, there was a proposal by the mayor at 137 Broad Street to do some rehab and create market rate apartments at the property, as well as to repair some of the commercial space on the first floor. And really, we had a number of meetings. We did tours of the facility, both prior to and after construction. Obviously very engaged with our active downtown community. It seemed that at the time, Mayo was 100% committed to our vision of the downtown, to attract new residents around transit-oriented development, to really take part in the arts and culture district that we have. And despite some shortcomings of Mayo in the past to upkeep some of their property as well as some code violations, we were willing to give a second chance. And I mean, to be quite frank, we're excited about the prospects of this new transit-oriented development in the city. And without any notification to myself, the new Ward 5 Council, what I should mention is really been a leader on this issue since it popped up. It became clear that it was not, in fact, they weren't in fact going forward with the plan that was presented to the council and approved by the council. So tonight, I'd really, rather than speculate on rumors or what I read in the paper, hear firsthand from Mayo exactly what went down, how it went down, and where we are today.
Well, I'd like to try to answer any of your questions. We did renovate the property at 137 Broad. It was a $5 million renovation. We took an old, dilapidated, boarded up building that had been boarded up since, I believe, the 50s, which was really in distress.
Excuse me, could I ask you to speak into the microphone?
I'm sure I can.
Or a little bit closer. You don't have to go right on it, but just a little closer. Thank you.
We completed the project in October of this year, and we were anticipating leasing it out to market tenants. That was our plan. It would have been ideal. We were, someone came and said they wanted to lease the whole building. So we looked at their plan. It made sense. And we signed a master lease on the whole building for 2 years.
So, Mr. President, I guess just to comment on that, I certainly understand that you're the messenger of this, and it may not have been your decision, but you said it was completed in October. It's now November. It hardly seems that an effort was made by the company to attract the very types of residents that they had said they were going to. Even if it had been a year ago you completed, there's been no effort to fulfill the promises that were made, but rather the first person that came in and said, here's some money, it seemed that you took it up despite guarantees made to myself, to the council, and to the city. And that's where the frustration lies. But again, I'm not here to chastise you. I'm going to let any other councilor as I see.
I believe it was a matter of timing. Center Board came to us with needs of leasing apartments for their program. The building was available, and it just made sense for their program. It really fit their needs. We still are renovating the exterior commercial spots along Broad Street, which is almost completed. Renovating the Gastronom's Deli and moving them into a new space, as well as the Congress Insurance Company is moving up the street into a new space, and the Global Realty is also moving into a new space. Then there are 3 spaces that will be renovated and attract new business.
Councilor Ford.
I'm very surprised about this. Like Councilor Creighton said, as a member of the Economic Development Board, as a council representative, we were all excited about the vision Councilor Creighton and Councilor Chakotay had on the path, and I wouldn't be able to support this. There's too many underlying things, and it doesn't seem to work with that vision for the downtown, in my opinion. And I guess that's all I have to say. It came up at the last minute, and I'm very surprised. Thank you.
Councilor Ford. Councilor Cahill.
Thank you, Mr. President. Can I ask you a couple of questions about, you mentioned the program at Centerport. What program is that, and exactly how many folks are being moved into how many apartments in that space?
There are 30 apartments in the building.
And do you know whether or not there'll be 30 family occupants, or have you heard something called doubling up? Will it be 2 families per unit?
I'm really not sure. That would be a question for the organization, Centerport.
You said it's probably more appropriate for Centerport to discuss those options. But you anticipate all 30 of those units being utilized, correct?
Correct.
And the assumption is that at least one occupant or one family will be in each of the 30 apartments?
Yes.
And do you know the nature of the program for which it's being implemented?
I really don't. That'd be best suited for Centerport.
If I told you it was for relocation of homeless families from hotels, would that sound?
They would, yes. I know they do several programs with homeless people, mostly families in crisis.
Correct.
Not homeless people off the street. I know they have really good programs. We've been in partners with them in several other buildings and leased them apartments. They've been model residents. They have staffing that takes care of them. You know, they've created 12 jobs just with this new property of helping the families, you know, that are in crisis through their education, GEDs, children's services, and getting them, you know, back on their feet is what I believe is what the program is designed.
I'm going to make a couple of statements, and I may be directing the questions your way, and my statements are in collaboration also with Councilor Jakutis, who again wasn't able to be here tonight, but we have conversed. So here's kind of the crux of the problem we have. We issued a special permit to the Mayo Group in hopes of being sold on the fact, as Councilor Crichton pointed out, that we would have some young professionals who work and live in Boston or work and live in Lynn, who have disposable incomes, who are trying to revitalize the downtown. We're bringing in middle to high-end restaurants, and of course, when we sell spaces for middle to high-end restaurants, we're selling them on the fact that we have folks that can afford those services. And we work with you, Mayo Group, in the past to revitalize many of the buildings in the downtown. Now, that's the positive side of things. The negative side of things is that the Mayo Group also has some issues with its current buildings. I know there's some residents here in the back today that have expressed some concerns to the council through emails and pictures about some of the conditions of some of the buildings that you are the property manager of. We have concerns that we have passed on to our inspectional services. We feel that those issues should be addressed immediately, regardless of what happens here tonight, regardless of the discussion here tonight. But in particular, 137 Broad Street, we're really trying to, again, revitalize our downtown. And in the city of Lynn, we have never had a discussion like this with someone who is a property owner who is housing a program for homeless families. I can't remember ever doing that. I don't know if any councilor came back of ever having a discussion. So this is obviously a very unique situation. In fact, the city of Lynn, time and time again, invites folks from all walks of life, and they assimilate into our community and become a fabric of our community. But what we're now seeing is areas such as that location that we have targeted for economic redevelopment with the hopes of having folks with disposable incomes that are able to grow the businesses around there and entice other folks to come in and live in the other buildings surrounding that area. By putting this type of program in here, you're doing the exact opposite of what we're trying to do in that area. Quite frankly, had you told us what you would do with the program, we would never have granted the special permit. We've taken, this council and the mayor has taken a tremendous leap of faith with the business community in the city of Lynn, and we've walked hand in hand to do some significant overhauls of our ordinance, where, for lack of a better term, control by city government has been given up. And what we want in return is for the promises to be kept by folks such as your employer, that what you say you're going to do, you're going to do. Unfortunately, you're doing something that, in our eyes, is quite hurtful to the process that we're trying to do. I can't trust your employer anymore. It's very, very difficult for someone who has had a track record in the past that we essentially put aside because of this one special permit, because of the promise, a $5 million, who would want to give up a $5 million infusion into the downtown? But you stand to make money either way. The market, we're told the market rate, it's hard to get an apartment in the city of Lynn, regardless if you're low income or middle income. These young folks trying to live in the downtown. I mean, I understand that it's capitalism and you have a right to rent to whoever you want, but we're really looking for a partner here, and you're not being a very good partner. You're adding to our problems, and you're making it very difficult for us to grow an economic base in our downtown. So all the other folks that benefit programs in our neighborhoods can also benefit from a growing downtown. You said, I know this is not your fight, but just so people can put this in perspective, there's 30 units, and there's going to be 30 homeless families in those units, so 30 homeless people. This week in the Boston Globe North section, there was a very inspirational article, and sad actually, about no home to call their own. It's about in a state where affordable housing is scarce, more than 3,600 children find shelter in motels. There's a huge issue with housing families in motels, and they tend to come locating in areas such as Danvers, Lucian, Route 1, and PD, and they have a list of where temporary folks are temporarily housed in communities. Now they list about 50. Lynn's not on the list. I'm surprised that we're not on the list, but most of them are just cities and towns. Looking at the number of families, by the way, these communities are complaining about having homeless families in motels. They don't think they should be there. They want the state to move them out because essentially these kids eventually end up going into their school systems, and of course, can't have that in the suburbs. So what they're doing is targeting cities like Lynn. Just your apartment alone would put us, just your apartment building, would put Lynn above Norwell, Wareham, Tewksbury, Bedford, and Saugus for the amount of homeless families that they have in their entire town. In their entire town. Methuen's coming in at big 41. So just your building puts Lynn in the North Shore. I mean, there's no doubt we are absolutely number one. I mean, I'd like to see the figures. I'm sure we blow away all these towns. But just to put that in perspective, they say this is a crisis, and just your building alone blows out 5 other towns. So I don't think we're being unreasonable. In fact, the city of Lynn is incredibly compassionate to everyone. And it's sad that I have to advocate like this because it's counterintuitive to my own ideologies. But when we all just have a moment to say, there is good planning and bad planning, and there's things that make sense and things that don't make sense. That program, and that building, and that location, it doesn't make sense. It's not helpful to those families in the sense that that's an urban setting. There's plenty of suburban areas that we can put kids close to parks. And quite frankly, we're not foolish to understand the program, which I know you have nothing to do with, seems to be targeting large buildings right next to our school systems. So there's another building right next to the Brigham Elementary School that has been targeted by the same program to house these same families. So essentially what we're going to end up doing is assuming all the families that are on this list, and we're going to be left to deal with the tremendous fallout from that, and the tremendous difficulties of a community dealing with that. And you're kind of going along with it. So you understand where our frustrations come from? And tell your bosses, we have bent over backwards in some instances so they can make money. Because when they make money, we make money. You do well, the residents of Lynn do well. You're doing well here, we're not doing so well. So the relationship's a little tense right now. And please share with your bosses that, as far as I'm concerned, their credibility is mud.
I've been to the building and I've met with the program directors at Centerport during the process of rolling out the lease and if it was going to work well for them. And I'm not an advocate for them, but I was rather impressed by what they do and how they help people. And I do feel that the building was a really good fit for them. Having them in one area with being able to help the people, putting them out in a suburban area. They have to go to meetings, they have to go to places all the time. None of them have cars. So this puts them in one place where they can go there. They don't miss meetings. They have hands-on training. And I was impressed. And I know in the short time that they've been there, I've worked with one of the program directors over there, just talking, seeing how things are going. They've already put 3 families into, they've graduated 3 families out of there in the last 30 days. They have tremendous hope for these people.
Councilor Capano.
Yes, I agree with Council Cahill. I think everyone here does. And there's a lot of compassion for the homeless here. It isn't about that. We don't need to be told about the need for services for homeless people. We're willing to help here anywhere we can. It isn't about that. And I don't seem to think that you get that you made a commitment to the council and to the neighbors. The idea is to have new businesses, new residents, new people come into the downtown that can work together, to have a relationship, to be part of the fabric of the downtown. You already had a terrible reputation as it was, and you had a second chance here, so you made a commitment, and you broke that commitment. That's what this is about. You said one thing, and you did something else. Now, you really haven't heard an answer to that, because you can switch it back to being about care for the homeless. There isn't a city around, as Councilor Cahill pointed out, that does more for the homeless population than we do here in Lynn, and we're constantly trying to help them. What we don't need is to go out on a limb and have you make side deals behind our back and just come here and say we're sorry and then try to lecture us on the care for the homeless. I don't think that your group could care less about the homeless people in this city. I think you're ready to make money, and I haven't heard you address what we're bringing up here, your failure to abide by the commitment that you made to this council and to the neighbors of the downtown.
Thank you. I'd just like to have Attorney Lamano come up for a minute, if he could.
Attorney Lamano.
Attorney Lamano, do we have any recourse, like through an ordinance or through anything in the city where they've come forward in front of us and promised us what they were going to do and then go back on it and not do what they with these special permits?
Water Department reviewed the conditions on the council special permit. For this particular property, they also required a variance. There are no conditions that were placed either on the variance or the special permit with respect to this particular property. But certainly, in future requests, the council can consider their representations to this council and the ability to live up to them and evaluating whether any further requests should be granted.
So if what's the purpose of a special permit though? We're giving them special permission to do something different, and now they didn't do it. So why can't we call them back on the carpet on that? Why can't we, rescind our vote?
Special permit runs with the land and cannot be rescinded once it's passed. There can be conditions put on a special permit at the time that the special permit is issued that would give better protections. I think in this case, this council took the mayor group at its word.
Mr. President, I did another question for Attorney Lamont before we leave. But in terms of the conditions, just to be clear, dictating the cost of apartments or what rates we're able to do, I imagine that's not something you can uphold as part of the condition. I think the council acted responsibly with the special permit that we gave after giving our word. Just to be clear, that we did not misstep by not including a condition that would be unenforceable.
I absolutely agree with you, Councilor. The consensus to the law department is such a condition would not be enforceable, and the ISD would ignore the condition that was placed on there when issuing occupancy permits.
Any Councilor Seer?
Thank you, Councilor Wars. This isn't this gentleman here, but it's for you to convey a message.
Correct.
Like Councilor back to the mayor of that, and you can ask my colleagues that I'm big on, you give your word, you stand by it. If you can't keep it, you come back and you tell us. And if we have a problem with that, then that's what it is, our problem. But you didn't keep your word, or at least made up what you did. So if they ever come in front of this council for anything,
I believe,
anything, whether it be that we have to approve the permit so that they can put any kind of utility in that building or any other building that the mayor owns, or if they come for a special permit, I would never vote for it. And I agree with everything Councilor Cahill said and everything Councilor Capano. I'm sick and tired of people using and abusing the city. That's what the mayor believes. They're only out to fill their pockets, and that's it.
Councilor Cahill.
Thank you. Just one more feedback to bring back to your group. I know you said that the program does a wonderful job, but I would also check with area agencies as far as their relationships with that said program. I'd ask you to look out, contacting United Way of Lynn and also affordable housing, see how they have done with that, with those programs administered from that group, and get their feedback as well, because I think you'd be surprised.
Councilor Creighton.
Mr. President, through to the members, I don't want to continue in talking a lot here, a lot of great points by the council, but just to provide some context, because I think over the past decade we've accomplished a lot. There's been a renewed focus on gateway cities like Lynn. And one of the big things they point to is diversifying the housing stock in downtowns like Lynn and providing balance. The city's worked with different agencies to clear any barriers for development along the waterfront and in the downtown. We've updated our zoning in the downtown, we've updated permitting along the waterfront. We've made a number of capital and infrastructure investments. We're doing all the right things. And working with this business, we're giving a guarantee on the types of housing that would be there that fits perfectly with this new concept of gateway cities and this new focus. We've hopped on the momentum, we've capitalized. And it just strikes me every time we bring developers to Lynn, there's all these great things to highlight. And I've been highlighting your structure as one that was going to be market rate, transit-oriented development, just a short walk from commuter rail and our new thriving businesses downtown. And it dawns me how foolish we've been to take you at your word. And as we have more development coming in, more developers coming in later on this month. And that was part of the tour, was to highlight this effort. And just a few weeks ago, without any notice, it became clear that we can't hold you to your word. So moving forward, as much as we want to be open to these developments, we want to capitalize on our relationship with developers and businesses, it's clear that with your group we have serious concerns, and I would like to hear back from the higher-ups any of the unanswered questions today and hear any of those further comments about their existing properties, because I'm not sure that the stock that you have now, I know there's a lot of turnover, but I would really like to see what properties you have and what you're doing with them, and we've come to you to ask questions. We'd like to get the answers back as well. Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay, that concludes this part. Thank you.
thank you.
Motion adjourned?
Motion adjourned, second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.